Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, where we bring you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. First, the headlines. Federal government launches e-fiscal platform to crack down on tax evasion. Abia state government responds to PDP's review of 2025 Q2 report. Showore announces planned protest in Abuja, Lagos over withheld NYSC certificate of Lagos core member. ADC boasts 800,000 members in Rivers, welcomes Amechi and Secondus. Nigeria's non-oil exports hit $3.225 billion in half-year 2025. Dangote takes delivery of CNG trucks. On foreign news, 4 Al Jazeera journalists killed in Israeli strike near Gaza city's Al-Shifa hospital. Israel protesters intensify pressure against plan to extend Gaza war. And on sports, 3,312 footballers to compete in 202 matches as Abia begins talent hunt. Nigeria powerlifters gear up for World Championship glory. Falconets begin preparations for 2026 Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifier. Now the news. The federal government has commenced the rollout of a national electronic fiscal system to modernize Nigeria's tax administration, curb evasion, and enhance transparency in revenue collection. The Federal Inland Revenue Service said the EFS, which incorporates an electronic invoicing solution known as the merchant buyer model, went live on August 1, 2025, after a successful pilot phase that began in November 2024. The first phase targets large companies with an annual turnover of 5 billion naira and above. The platform is designed to make tax compliance easier, faster, and more transparent for taxpayers, providing the FIRS with real-time visibility into commercial transactions, while ensuring the authenticity, accuracy, and completeness of invoices. In a statement on Sunday, the Special Advisor on Media to the FIRS Chairman, Dare Adekombi, said that in less than 2 weeks since the launch, at least 1,000 companies representing 20% of more than 5,000 eligible firms have adopted the system and begun integrating with the FIRS MBS platform. The remaining large taxpayers must complete their onboarding and integration before the new deadline of November 1, 2025. The initial August 1 deadline was extended by 3 months to accommodate companies that made genuine efforts to meet the original date but faced operational constraints. The e-invoicing solution is being rolled out in phases, with medium-sized and emerging businesses to be onboarded after the large taxpayer category. It aligns with global best practices and supports the federal government's broader objectives of enhancing revenue assurance, reducing tax evasion, and harmonizing revenue reporting under the Nigerian Revenue Service Reform Act. The FIRS said its e-invoicing implementation team will continue to hold stakeholder engagements, including webinars, workshops, and town hall meetings to ensure a smooth transition ahead of the November deadline. Abia state government counters PDP's 2025 Q2 review, dismissing shadow government claims and defending its fiscal, infrastructure, and salary policies under Governor Alex Otti. The Abia state government has issued a strong rebuttal to the People's Democratic Party's PDP shadow government review of the 2025 Q2 report, describing the exercise as baseless and misleading. In a statement, the government dismissed the concept of a shadow government in a presidential system, noting that both the state and federal administrations had previously warned against such formations. It described PDP's attempt to revive the idea as a potential trigger for stricter government action. The PDP has alleged that rising revenues were not matched with outcomes, calling it a disconnected fiscal reality. In response, the government said the opposition ignored key economic realities, particularly inflation's effect on project cost and governance. Governor Alex Otti, it stressed, has been consistent with salary payments, implementing the 70,000 naira new minimum wage ahead of the federal government. The number of verified civil servants has grown from 30,000 in 2022 to about 67,000, excluding 5,395 newly recruited teachers. The government explained that the slight drop in internally generated revenue, 14 billion naira in Q1 to 13.2 billion naira in Q2, was seasonal, with enforcement being more effective in the dry season. It pointed out that the current monthly IGR average of 4.65 billion naira represents a growth of over 200% from 2022 figures. Reacting to the PDP's query on 75 billion naira spent on capital projects in Q2, the government said such spending is visible in infrastructure, healthcare, education, waste management, and ICT development. Projects include 200 primary healthcare centers, 7 new general hospitals, and widespread school renovations. The government denied allegations of new foreign borrowing worth 75 billion naira, attributing the reported rise in external debt from 80 billion naira to 155 billion naira, to naira depreciation from 460 naira to about 1,550 naira per dollar. It accused the PDP of misleading the public, pointing out that the debts in question were incurred on the previous administration. The government called on the PDP to adopt responsible opposition politics, focusing on fact-based engagement rather than what it termed media relevance ahead of 2027 elections. It reiterated that any borrowing under Governor Oti would be strictly for developmental purposes. Plans are underway for mass protests in Abuja and Lagos as supporters of Ushie Rita Ogwamaye, popularly known as Rita Ray, prepare to storm National Youth Service Corps NYSC secretariats to demand justice over the extension of her service year by 2 months. Human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore made the announcement during an X-Space titled #TalkWithSowore, unpacking the recent events. He revealed that a recent meeting in Abuja ended with calls for demonstrations beginning in the week in both cities over the issue as they will mobilize to storm NYSC secretariats. The planned protest followed the NYSC's decision to withhold Rita's NYSC discharge certificate after completing her service year. Recall that Rita had publicly criticized President Bulletin's administration in March over worsening economic hardship. Also, Sowore recommended Rita's bravery as he disclosed that the controversy surrounding her case contributed to the recent increase in the NYSC allowance to 77,000 naira. In the same vein, human rights lawyer Femi Falana San called on the NYSC management to immediately release the corps members' discharge certificate. Falana described the decision to withhold her certificate as an illegal act of retaliation for her public criticism of the economic policies of President Tinubu's administration. Falana condemned NYSC's action in a statement, emphasizing that no court order authorized the seizure and therefore it is unlawful. The African Democratic Congress in Rivers State is growing by leaps and bounds in the state with a current membership strength of over 800,000 and counting. The State Publicity Secretary of the party, Lucky Man Igila, disclosed this at a news briefing in Port Harcourt over the weekend. Igila described the party as a beautiful bride, adding that prominent politicians, including 2 former governors and 2 senators, had officially joined and received their party membership cards. He said the likes of Rotimi Amechi, who is a former governor, Celestine Omehia, who is also former governor and former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Prince Uche Secondos, are also members of the ADC. He said these persons have left their former parties and are now full members of the ADC. The party spokesman expressed optimism that more persons from other parties would join its fold in the coming days. ComfortTV.channel news returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Thanks for staying tuned. On business, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council (NEPC) has announced that the country's non-oil exported products in the first half of 2025 were valued at $3.225 billion. Director General of the Council, Mrs. Nonye Anyeni, disclosed this to the media while presenting a report on the first half of the 2025 non-oil export performance in Abuja on Sunday. INE stated that the report aimed to provide a comprehensive overview of the Council's achievements, challenges and prospects. The Director General recalled that in April, Nigeria's non-oil product exports in the first quarter of 2025 recorded a significant value of $1.791 billion. She said that the figure represented a 24.75% increase over the $1.436 billion reported in the first quarter of 2024. INE stated that the volume also increased to 2.416 million metric tons, representing a 24.3% increase from the 1.937 million metric tons recorded in the first quarter of 2024. She further stated that a total of 236 different products were exported in the first half of the year. INE expressed the Council's commitment to working with the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, as well as other relevant stakeholders to sustain the strong performance by increasing the volume and value of non-oil exports from Nigeria. The efforts, she said, were in alignment with President Bola Tinubu-led administration's renewed hope agenda and the policy drive of the ministry. Still on business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals says it has commenced the receipt of 4,000 compressed natural gas-powered trucks needed for its fuel distribution logistics program set to start on August 15. In a statement, the company said that the initiative aimed to transform the fuel distribution landscape within Nigeria by reducing logistics costs and enhancing supply efficiency for customers. The fleet of fuel tankers being imported through Apapa port represents a significant capital investment estimated at 720 billion naira. According to the statement, the expenditure underscores the company's commitment to pioneering innovative solutions as the world's largest single-train refinery continues to expand its operational capabilities. The first consignment of trucks recently departed Apapa port and was formally received at the refinery site in Ibeju, Lekki by the Vice President of Oil and Gas at Dangote Industries Limited, Devakumar Edwin. The arrival was met with enthusiasm from refinery personnel and customers alike, many of whom were present to witness the tangible progress towards improved fuel accessibility. Speaking, the Group Chief of Branding and Communication, Dangote Industries Limited, Mr. Anthony Chiejina, said the commencement of the initiative marked a groundbreaking development in Nigeria's fuel distribution network. He said, given the complexities inherent in global supply chains, the delivery of these specialized CNG-powered tankers is indeed commendable, and that the approach ensures that operational efficiency is maintained while scaling up the fleet. He added that over the next 6 weeks, the refinery expects at least 60 shiploads of these trucks to arrive in the country. Recall that in June, the Dangote refinery revealed its plan to deploy 4,000 CNG trucks across Nigeria for the nationwide distribution of petroleum products. The initiative is projected to save Nigerians over 1.7 trillion naira annually in fuel distribution costs and significantly benefit over 42 million micro, small and medium enterprises by lowering energy costs and improving profitability. On foreign news, 4 Al Jazeera journalists have been killed in an Israeli strike near Gaza City's Al-Shifa hospital. Correspondents Anas Al-Sharif and Mohammed Krike and cameraman Ibrahim Zaha and Mohammed Nufal were in a tent for journalists at a hospital's main gate when it was targeted, Al Jazeera reported. A fortnight ago, it condemned the Israel Defense Force, IDF, for what it called a campaign of incitement against its reporters in Gaza, including Al-Sharif. Shortly after the strike, the IDF confirmed that it had struck Anas Al-Sharif, posting on Telegram that he had served as the head of a terrorist cell in Hamas. Al-Sharif, 28, appeared to be posting on X in the moments before his death, warning of intense Israeli bombardment within Gaza City. A post which was published after he was reported to have died appears to have been pre-written and published by a friend. In 2 graphic videos of the aftermath of the strike, which have been confirmed, men can be seen carrying the bodies of those killed. Some shout out Mohammed Krike's name, and a man wearing a press vest says that one of the bodies is that of Anas Al-Sharif. In July, the Al Jazeera media network issued a statement denouncing relentless efforts by the IDF for an ongoing campaign of incitement targeting Al Jazeera's correspondents and journalists in the Gaza Strip. The network considers this incitement a dangerous attempt to justify the targeting of its journalists in its field. The IDF statement accused al-Sharif of posing as a journalist and being responsible for advancing rocket attacks against Israeli civilians and IDF troops. It said it had previously disclosed intelligence confirming his military affiliation, which included lists of terrorist training courses. Prior to the strike, steps were taken to mitigate harm to civilians, including the use of precise munition, aerial surveillance, and additional intelligence. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, 186 journalists have been confirmed killed since the start of Israel's military offensive in Gaza in October 2023. Still on the forum scene, thousands of protesters have taken to the streets across Israel to oppose the government's plan to expand its military operation in Gaza. Over the weekend, Israel's Security Cabinet approved 5 principles to end the war that included taking security control over the Gaza Strip, with the Israel military saying it will prepare for taking control of Gaza City. Protesters, including family members of 50 hostages in Gaza, 20 of whom are still thought to be alive, fear the plans put the lives of hostages at risk and urge the government to secure their release. Israeli leaders have rejected criticism of their plan, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying this will help free the hostages. Group representing families of the hostages said on X, expanding the fighting endangers the hostages and the soldiers, and the people of Israel are not willing to risk them. One protester, Shaka, rallying in Jerusalem, told newsmen that they want the war to end because the hostages are dying there and that they need them all to be home. He said whatever it takes, they would need to do it, even if it means stopping the war. Netanyahu has also faced strong opposition from the army's chief of staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, who, according to the Israeli media, have warned the prime minister that the full occupation of Gaza was tantamount to walking into a trap and would endanger the life of hostages. A top UN official earlier this week warned that a complete military takeover of Gaza City would risk catastrophic consequences for Palestinians, civilians, and hostages. The UK, France, Canada, and several other countries have condemned Israel's decision, and Germany announced that it will halt its military exports to Israel in response. The United Nations Security Council plans to meet to further discuss Israel's plan. On sports news, Abia State government says it will fish out hidden male football talents through the Abia State Soccer Fest commencing on August 23, 2025 across the 17 local government areas of the state. The state also disclosed that new football stars will be discovered for Abia State, Nigerian Premier League clubs, Nigerian national teams, and major European clubs from the competition. Addressing journalists over the weekend, the vice chairman of the local organizing committee, LOC of Abia Fest, Captain Eric Asomuga, said that the competition would commence on August 23 in 184 wards of the state and will culminate in best teams from 17 local government areas competing at state level. He said that the tournament, which is being organized by the Abia State Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, is for players between the age bracket of 16 and 23 years. He said scouts from local, state, national, and international will be invited to fish out the talents that are going to be discovered in the tournament. Also, the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Uzo Nwachukwu, and the Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development, Nwobilo Ananaba, thanked Governor Oti for his policies in the discovery of talents in sports development in general. They made it clear that every male resident between the ages of 16 to 23 is free to participate, as Governor Oti had already abolished the state of origin dichotomy. Still on sports, Nigeria's national powerlifting has departed to Santiago, Chile, to participate in the World Powerlifting Championship taking place from August 11 to 18. The team will compete against international athletes in a bid to secure medals and maintain Nigeria's standing in the sport. Director General of the National Sports Commission, Bukola Olopade, addressed the athletes ahead of their departure, acknowledging their preparation and encouraging them to remain focused. The athletes who underwent training in camp in preparation for the event includes experienced lifters who have previously represented Nigeria in international competitions. Nigeria's participation in the championship aligns with the federal government's stated commitment to promoting para-sports. Officials from the National Sports Commission noted that the trip reflects ongoing efforts by the Tinubu administration to support differently abled athletes and ensure their inclusion in global sporting events. The World Powerlifting Champions in Santiago will feature competitors from multiple countries with events scheduled across various weight categories. Nigeria's contingent is expected to compete throughout the week-long tournament. Nigeria's under-20 women's team is set to face Rwanda in a decisive doubleheader for a chance to qualify for the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. The young Nigerian squad is fully focused on its qualifying campaign and preparation for a two-leg tie against Rwanda. The Falconets head coach, Moses Aduku, has called up 35 players to face Rwanda in the second round of qualifiers. The squad features 4 goalkeepers, 11 defenders, 9 midfielders, and 11 forwards. Several players who took part in the 2024 World Cup in Colombia have been recalled. Among them, a captain Oluchi Ohebulem, midfielder Joy Ibokwe, and strikers Mary Loki Mpa and Goodness Osigwe. The team was assembled in Abuja on Sunday, August 10 for training sessions set to begin the following day. Notably, the first leg will take place in Kigali, Rwanda on September 21, 2025. The return fixture in Nigeria is scheduled for September 27 at the Lekon Salami Stadium in Ibadan. The 2026 Under-20 Women's World Cup will be held in Poland. And that's the bulletin for now on ComfortTV.channel news. But before we go, here are a run of the headlines. Federal government launches e-fiscal platform to crack down on tax evasion. Abia state government responds to PDP's review of 2025 Q2 report. On business, we brought you that Nigeria's non-oil export hit $3.225 billion in half-year 2025. On foreign news, 4 Al Jazeera journalists killed in Israeli strike near Gaza City's Al-Shifa hospital. And on sports, Falconets begin preparation for 2026 Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifier. For breaking news, exclusive interviews, and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. I am Faith Kevin. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share.